10 years ago today, the U.S. Supreme Court made a landmark decision in a case that originated right here in Ohio.
The ruling in Obergefell versus Hodges declared that the 14th Amendment guarantees the right to same-sex marriage, requiring all 50 states to both license and recognize them, overturning any state-level bans that were in place.
Our Taylor Bruck introduces us to couples right here in our state who are celebrating their now 10-year wedding anniversary after rushing to the altar once that decision came through. Take a look.
From the moment you walk in Kathy Amstut's home, you see touches of rainbow sprinkled everywhere.
Anybody that comes to this house is welcome.
It's intentional, she says, a symbol of freedom and pride after decades of hiding.
I celebrate being gay because we had 30 years of keeping it quiet.
The 71-year-old Zanesville native was married to a man for 4 years, only to one day meet the woman of her dreams in church, the late Barbara Amstutz, who was a nun. But she was a nun.
I know. You could say I corrupted her.
She describes their relationship as love at first sight, inseparable from the day they met.
I knew right away she was mine.
But still, they lived in secret, pretending to be sisters. Until June 26, 2015, the day the Supreme Court's decision in Obergefell versus Hodges legalized same-sex marriage nationwide.
It was the biggest joy. I mean, we couldn't believe it. When we heard it, we both cried, we hugged each other, we kissed. And she says, when can we get married? You know, and I looked at her and I said, will you marry me? And she said, yes!
Finally coming out to the world, they tied the knot a few days later.
It was the best day of my life.
To Kathy, being able to marry was about showing off who she loved.
Unbelievable memories.
But to Columbus residents Tom Morgan and Bradley Weiss, marriage was about protection.
2004, Brad had a near-fatal car crash, fractured skull, traumatic brain injury. He was in a coma. And even though we'd lived together for 6 years at the time, I was not considered family by the hospital.
They got married 2 months after the Obergefell decision.
There are 1,138 special and distinct rights and privileges that are granted a married couple in this country. We had none of those. Now we have all of them, and that's the way it should be.
Today, conservative lawmakers in multiple states and the Southern Baptist Convention have introduced measures stating marriage should only be between a man and a woman, encouraging the Supreme Court to reconsider the landmark ruling. A ruling that changed the lives of millions of Americans, giving couples like Brad and Tom protections they desired, and Kathy and Barb memories admired, until they one day meet again.
She's always with me. She'll never go away. Never. And that's what I want for everybody, to find that special someone and stay with them forever. We're all precious in God's eyes.
And Taylor joins us now. So 10 years of Obergefell versus Hodges. For those that don't know as many details about the case, what can you tell us about it?
You hear a lot about it. I myself learned a lot just by doing this story, but the case was actually a consolidation of several lawsuits filed by same-sex couples in Ohio, Kentucky, Michigan, and Tennessee, challenging state bans on same-sex marriage and the refusal to recognize out-of-state marriages. Now, Richard Hodges was the defendant. He served as the director of the Ohio Department of Health at the time. Jim Obergefell is also from Ohio. He and his late husband, John Arthur, were one of about a dozen couples who were plaintiffs in the case. They were together 22 years, but John was actually dying of ALS, so the two wanted to get married so that they had legal protection so that Jim could make decisions about John's death. At the time, though, they couldn't get married in Ohio as there was a constitutional ban on same-sex marriage. So the couple actually chartered a medical transport plane to fly to Maryland, where it was legal. They exchanged vows on the tarmac, and there's incredible photos from this day. John Arthur actually passed away in 2013 before the case moved up to the Supreme Court and became the landmark decision it is today. So they never got to enjoy married life in Ohio while it was legal. But as you know, their bravery changed the lives of millions of Americans.
Yeah, I have to imagine this is a concerning time for a lot of couples here in Ohio and across the country. What would happen if it was overturned?
So many LGBTQ couples are fearful of this. Basically, if Obergefell were overturned in states like Ohio, there would once again be a ban on same-sex marriage. Data shows that at least 25 states would have bans on same-sex marriage, and 7 would likely ban, as they either have existing laws or constitutional amendments defining marriage as between one man and one woman. In 2022, though, it's important to note Congress did pass the bipartisan Respect for Marriage Act, which does require states to at least recognize same-sex and interracial marriages in every state. But basically, couples who wanted to get married in a state that has a ban, they would once again have to travel again to a state where it is legal. What's interesting, though, is a May 2025 Gallup poll does report that nearly 70% of Americans support same-sex marriage. So we are seeing growing support over the past couple decades. Many same-sex couples are hopeful, if Obergefell were ever overturned, that local governments would then step in, pass legislation protecting the right to marry.
All right, we certainly appreciate the information on this 10-year anniversary.
Of course.
Taylor, thank you.
Yeah.